Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spiritually Connected with Tanya Lee. As always, I'm your host, Tanya Lee, and today we have the fabulous Erin Knight. Erin is a psychic medium and tarot card reader who has been able to connect with spirits since she was a child. Growing up, she would often see spirits at night and feel them in large crowds. Erin has always been drawn to all things metaphysical and was gifted her first set of tarot cards from her father at age 14. Ooh, we'll have to find out more about that. She also provides clients with loving and healing messages from the other side, including international clients. As co-founder of the Edmonton-based Third Eye Mystics, Erin continues to follow her spiritual path by teaching others how to tap into their intuition, connect with their spirit guides, build psychic awareness, and a variety of tarot-based programs. Please welcome Erin Knight.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here as well.
Yay, good. So full disclosure, Erin, I've known Erin how long have we known each other? I was trying to think about that the other day.
It's been over 10 years now.
It has to be, right?
I think it was, just shy of 2008, 2009, around there. So it's been a few.
It's been a few, but it certainly does not feel like it.
No.
Hey, look at two blonde bombshells. I love it.
Right, there you go.
This hottie has done tons of different things, and I want to really get into it. I also want to know about your dad giving you tarot cards at 14. So let's get into it. So
Sure.
How did you talked about crowd, like in your bio there, I talked about crowds and all that. Tell me about how you realized you're psychic when you're little.
Yeah, it's funny because being psychic, being intuitive, it's all I've ever known. So growing up, it just was. I would just know things. I come from a very intuitive family, and I'm fortunate enough to have parents that were very nurturing of all of that. So we would play games as a kid. Like we'd play card games where, okay, what am I going to flip over? Is it red? Is it black? Is it clubs? Is it hearts? Whatever, right? And do different things like that. And to us, it was just a game. You're just having fun, right? But I think mom and dad were just helping us to kind of tap into that a little bit more, right? When it comes to spirit and all that, as a medium, I don't know that the word medium was something that was used, right? I don't know that I heard that term until later on in life. But I would wake up and there'd be someone standing in my room, right? I was a terrible sleeper. I was up almost every night. I'd go to get mom and dad, and there would be someone in their room. It was just always that. I remember one thing distinctly growing up was, do you remember the Oklahoma City bombings? I mean, that terrible, everyone remembers that from the 90s. I think it was like 95-ish, mid 90s. I remember the night before that, I had such a vivid dream. Like I can just recount it so clearly even to this day. And I must have been, oh gosh, I'm going to say probably 8 or 9 at the time. And I had a dream that there was a terrible explosion, and I could see people, and I could hear like what I would describe as like shell shock. Like when you hear like the blast of something and your ears are ringing. And I remember in my mind, it was like a bird's eye view, seeing this picture of like a firefighter carrying a child out of this rubble. And it was terrible. And I woke up just screaming, so much so that my dad, he obviously came running. It took him a good 2 hours to get me calmed down. I was so upset. The next day, sure enough, this is when it happened. I think it happened in the early morning of the following day. And so we're hearing about it as the day goes on. And I remember my dad just kind of talking to my mom, and I could hear them talking like, she had a dream. Like this is what her dream was. And I remember the day after that, there was on the front page of the Calgary Sun, that's where I'm from, there was the image of a firefighter carrying this young girl out. And it was exactly the image that I had kind of ingrained in my head that I saw in my dream 2 nights before. So things like that were not uncommon for me growing up. You go to school and there's a pop quiz. Well, guess what? I already knew that there was a quiz, right? Like I just always had that intuition always flowing, right? So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Mm-hmm. Great and devastating too, because I mean, you probably had no clue. You just thought this was normal.
Yeah. I did. And like I was a terrible sleeper, as I mentioned. And it was because of that. Like I was scared I was going to dream. I was scared I was going to wake up and see spirit. I was scared I was going to see things. And my parents, it's funny, like just literally last week, I was talking to my mom and she just told me, well, when I was a kid, I had the same sleeping issues. So she was always so patient with me because she knew what it was like. Right. But it was tough for sure. For sure.
Wow, man.
Hmm.
Okay, so I can't imagine because I slept like a baby all the time.
Right.
My parents used to have to wake me up. I still love sleep. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Um, you, so your mom is psychic, your dad is psychic. You had made a mention about, or I actually at the top of
Yeah.
the podcast mentioned your dad gave you tarot cards at 14.
Yeah.
I want to know this story. What?
Super cool. So it's funny because I mean, 20 plus years later, those are the ones that I still use every day in all of my readings. And I just found out they're classified as vintage now and they're worth like a really nice sum of money, but I can't retire them because I love them so much. Right. So, yeah, we were always going into like bookstores and I've always loved everything vintage because I'm such a big energy freak. Like I love the energy of something. I love holding on to a book and just feeling the energy of it. So we would always go into like antique shops and thrift stores and things like that. And one day we went into a little metaphysical shop downtown Calgary. And I found these cards and I was just so drawn to them. And I put them, back after it was time to go. And he picked them up and he's like, no, these are meant for you. And I went home and like I opened them and I read the book like front to back. And, I didn't know anything about tarot at the time, but I taught myself. And sure enough, like I use them every day in my readings. Yeah, they're great.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Okay, so you talk about Calgary. I'm going to deviate a little bit off topic because it's close to my heart, as you all know. Part-time Australian here, as much as I can be. You spent some quality time in Australia, and you have a tie to Australia.
I do, yes. So I'm actually a dual citizen. And my mom is from Australia. She came here in the 70s. My mom she's amazing. She has literally traveled the world. She has lived everywhere. She's done some pretty cool things. And she was passing through Canada with a girlfriend, and they were in Calgary for a while, ended up going out one night. And there was one at the bar that they went to, there was two chairs left open. It happened to be at a table with my dad and his friends. So they met, she stayed, and all these years later, this is where we're at. So yes, I do have family there. I've been there. I love it there. It's a place that's just really near and dear to my heart for sure. Yeah. And there's no snow.
And there's no snow. That's right. As Canadians, and this is why I moved there.
Right.
Okay, so I had to tie that in because it's very dear to my heart, and I know it's dear to yours as well. So I want to talk about, like, we'll come back on track, and I want to talk about what would you say to somebody that that thinks they could be psychic? Like, what would you say to somebody maybe to get started or whatever?
For sure. First of all, I believe everyone is psychic. I think just like some people are born natural athletes or natural musicians, I think everyone is born with that psychic ability. Some of us just have that a little bit more advanced right off the hop, right? It's all about nurturing. So practice. Trusting yourself is the biggest thing. Sit in meditation, let go of any blocks. So anything in your life that's no longer serving you or that is unhealthy, just look at releasing that in whatever way. But trusting and listening, it's a natural instinct, right? Intuition is a natural instinct. Yes. You think about, like the ancient Polynesians, they mapped the entire Pacific Ocean really based off their intuition, right? There was no maps. They made their maps and they knew where to sail just off of that intuition. So really we have that natural ability. It's all about, tapping into that and trusting that, right? I remember, if I can tell a little.
I love it. Tell a story.
With that. Several years ago, I was taking my oldest to school in the morning, and it was winter. So again, Canadian winter, cold, snow. And I had my little guy, I think he was about 2 at the time, and he's in the back of the van. And I dropped my oldest off at school, heading home, and my gas light comes on. And I'm like, well, whatever, I'll just do it now, rather than have to do it later. And I pulled into the closest gas station, Shell station or whatever, and I just had a feeling that I wasn't supposed to get gas there. It was just that, intuitive feeling comes up, something's not right here, I'm going to keep going. And I have I get annoyed with myself when this happens. I have like this internal dialect with myself, like, what are you doing? You need gas. It's cheap here. You get air miles. Like, what the hell? But no, I just knew I wasn't supposed to get gas there. So I pull into the parking lot and pull right back out. And I'm heading towards home. And I'm like, okay, well, I know enough now to just trust. And so I'm driving home and I pull up to a three-way stop close to my house. Now, if I were to turn right, I'd be going to my house, but I don't turn right. I go straight through. And I'm, again, having this internal kind of fight with myself. I pull into the kind of mom and pop local gas station, the corner store, right? And I'm frustrated, A, because it's more expensive. B, they don't have pay at the pump. So I got to go inside and pay. And I'm that type of mom that drops my kid off in like pajama pants. So I'm not dressed for it. My hair's a mess. There's a line up to boot. So, but I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I end up pulling up to the pump that's farthest away from the door. But again, I'm just trusting myself. So I do that. I go inside, I stand in line, I pay, I prepay, I come back out and I'm pumping my gas. And right across the street, I see a child, a toddler in pajamas, no jacket, no shoes, no socks. And I know this is why I'm here. And this kid is like booting it towards like one of the busiest intersections. And I'm looking around and I don't see anyone and no one else is stopping. No one else is. And so I'm thinking, okay, like what the hell I stop pumping my gas. I lock my door and I cross the street and I start running towards him. And I realize the closer I get to him, and I'm calling to him, the closer I get to him, the more he's kind of like freaking out and like screaming and acting just scared. And I quickly realized that there is some sort of developmental delay with this boy. And so in that moment, I just knew that I had to be there for him. So I got as close as I could. It was about like 10 feet or so. And I just sat in the snow. I just sat there. And I started, like mom just kicked in and I started really softly talking to him and I started kind of singing a bit and just really kind of like just praying and putting that energy out to him to let him know that he can trust me. And sure enough, he stopped running towards the road and he made his way to me and he sat down with me as well. I take my jacket off and I put it around him and I'm thinking, okay, well, now what do? I don't want to touch him because I don't know how he's going to react. And right after that, I saw his mom come running down the street. She's screaming his name. She comes right over. She's crying. She tells me that he's autistic. He's about 3 years old. She runs a day home. Her back was turned for like a minute and she forgot to latch because they have to latch the top of their doors as well. She forgot to latch it and he got out. And it was like in that moment, like that I was reminded, and it's funny how the universe does that. I'm constantly reminded, right, that there's a reason for things that we do. And had I not listened to that intuition, I would have missed that, right? And who knows what would have happened. So listening and trusting, that is huge. And the more you do that, it's like a muscle, right? The more you do that, the more you work that, the stronger that's going to become.
I love that. Actually, and you and I have known each other, like you said, 10 years. Mm-hmm. I've never heard you tell that story. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's amazing. I love the tie in there because it's absolutely true. Trust your intuition 100%. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. You need to tell that story more often.
I do. Depends,
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, when there's a need for it, for sure. It's important. It is important that we all just listen and trust. And I mean, how many times too have we, I think there's so many distractions nowadays with the social media and just tech. And don't get me wrong, it's great as well, but there's a lot of distractions. And how many times have we, I guess, for example, let's talk about people that we meet. We might meet someone and, you know, our vibes right away tell us if this person's compatible with us or not, right? If we listen to that. And there's so many times nowadays, I feel like we ignore that because, well, we have 20 mutual friends, so this person must be decent. Well, just because you've got mutual friends on social media doesn't mean that you're going to click with them or that they have your best interest in mind. So I think it's just important that we kind of limit those distractions and again, just trust our own natural, radars there.
That's a really great point. Oh, I love that. Great tie-in. I want to talk more about that, but we got to get talking about you more. Okay, so what are you working on? Erin, what are you guys working on? So there is two of you to this duo. And what are you working on? What are you both working on? What's happening?
Sure. So I am co-founder of Third Eye Mystics, which is something that I started up with my partner, Donna Becker. who also happens to be my mother-in-law. So my poor husband is can't get away from it. But we do all of our readings individually. We are our own readers, own practices. We've got our separate kind of things there. Typically together, we do a lot of teaching and stuff like that. So working on right now, there's so much in the works for 2021 that I've been kind of working on. I am an avid tarot card reader. It's something that I love, that I've been studying extensively for years. So I have been working really diligent on our own decks. That's something that's coming out shortly, as well as more tarot classes, more learning hubs. My baby for the last, I don't know, almost year has been really working on an online learning hub, a central hub there for people to come and really learn more about the tarot, how to read for themselves, how to read for others, how to access different spreads to help them navigate their way through life. So that's the biggest thing right now, in addition to private readings that I do, group readings, all that kind of stuff as well.
I love that. And just so the audience knows, we have, we sit in a master psychic circle together. We have a big connection. I know you guys have referred people to me, and you guys are my go-to, especially you, Erin. You're my go-to when it requires, hey, somebody else, if I'm too close to a situation, and I can easily say that I've referred a couple of family members to you and to your partner as well, Erin, because I do truly believe in how strong you are as a medium, as well as a very gifted tarot reader. And I even like getting tarot readings from you guys. And it's, I 100%, I can't stress this enough. I think it's so important in this day and age when there's so much mistrust in the world and going, is this person legit? Like, and there are, I'm not going to lie, there are scammers out there, psychic scammers all the time. There's people with, long wait lists that are, to me, absolutely ridiculous. There's, and I'm not pulling apart that they're not good mediums, and that's not what I'm saying, but there's usually usually a wait list means that there are really good. Having said that though, there's an integrity piece to it as well. And I want to just really highlight how truly gifted I think that you are, honestly.
Well, I really do appreciate that. That's really, really kind. You're going to make me blush. And likewise, I definitely respect what you do. And I've seen you work as well. And it's the feeling is mutual. So I do appreciate that for sure. I think that's a good point. When it comes to finding a medium or a psychic that's good for you, listen, you can have the fancy websites, you can have the social media for days and the followers for days, but your number one thing is going to be word of mouth and reference. So if you want to go and get a reading done for yourself, you want to find someone who really has had that experience with that person before. Wait lists, I can go either way with that, because yes, it could certainly mean that you are great and you are, good at what you do, but it could also mean that perhaps you're just kind of jamming people in there. Perhaps you do have a large online following, and on social media you appear to be a certain way, and so people want to check that out, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you are, going to get what you need from that person. So word of mouth is huge. If someone's had a good experience, that's huge as well. And yeah. So you definitely want to check out those reference points, right? For sure.
Good. I love that you brought that up, because it's so true. Mm-hmm. We do it for everything. I should say I do it for everything else. I'm always finding out from somebody, hey, do you know a good plumber? And if I get 2 or 3 references back from a plumber, electrician, and so what would be so different than a psychic medium as well? So I like how you referred that. And to me, that is the ultimate compliment when somebody says to me, hey, I was referred to you by somebody else. I'm like, oh, thank you. Big gratitude out there. So I love it.
I agree for sure. Good. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite client, or do you have a favorite time?
Yeah. That's a loaded question because
It is.
so many. And you'll probably attest to this too. It's funny because after a reading, it's almost like it just goes out the door with your client because it's not meant for you. You're just that conduit, right? So not that you remember all the details, but certainly over the years, there are people that really kind of stick to you, right? I am lucky enough that I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. So I do a lot of energy work and all that. And I don't typically practice that unless I'm kind of called to it. So over the years, I've had a handful of those types of clients that just meant the world to me. I've done a lot of work with kids. There was a little girl a couple years ago who sadly passed away since then, but she had a brain tumor, and I did a lot of Reiki and energy work on her and her mom and her family. And that's something that was, I'll never forget that, just to have that moment to bring her a little bit of comfort, right? That's something that's really, really important to me. I've been called into different hospice cares and palliative cares to kind of sit with people as they're taking their last breaths and as they are transitioning. And that's something, every one of those patients and clients that I remember the details, and that always sticks with me. I do have a young mom who I read for the first time, oh boy, several years ago now. And her daughter had sadly, unexpectedly passed away. She was battling with different forms of epilepsy, and she was having really bad seizures. And she one morning passed away. She was laying in her mom's bed. Mom goes downstairs to make breakfast. And when she went back upstairs, she had sadly passed away from a grand mal seizure. So that reading, that one left me a little shook afterwards because I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I can connect to that child and bring this mom, because I'm a mom myself and I couldn't imagine. But that one specifically, I remember after that reading, just kind of sitting with my husband and having a little bit of a breakdown, because we're human as well. And it just really plays on your emotions because especially when I'm such an empath. I feel things so deeply, and I'm such a sensitive person to begin emotionally and energetically, that when those types of connections come in, boy, I really feel that pain of that person. So that is one that will always kind of stick with me. She's become a regular client with tarot cards and all that as well. And I really adore her. So that one is one that will kind of be there. But anytime I work with kids or work with parents who have lost kids, those ones really stick with me. Some of the work that I've done in hospice and all that have been with kids. And it's interesting now, because when I have a new client that comes to me that wants to connect to their child on the other side, and of course, I don't know who they want to connect with until they're sitting in front of me, right? But it's funny because those souls that I did help cross over and that I sat with, they're almost like the gatekeepers for the kids now. So I know that I will be connecting to a child because all of a sudden those kids will come to me and I will connect to them. So it's like they just kind of usher them towards me. And I love that. I love working with the kids for sure. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And you're right. It's not just, it's not one in particular, and it's moments and memories. Yeah. I remember you talking, I remember something about that, the mom with the little girl and you working with her. I remember something about that. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
You were doing that. And I remember thinking how delicate that is, because I mean, the little girl is going to pass away, and yet you held space for her. So and then her mom as well. And I'm not surprised, but I also love that she is also has become a regular client of yours.
Oh, totally.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
Look at you have extra children all around you. I love it. I love it. I also want to address that you and I have worked on a couple of police cases as well. And those aren't easy either, especially when they involve children. They actually break my heart, truly break my heart. And I think we both scaled back on those a little bit, but I didn't know that you were so involved with children in that way. I guess it probably becomes a little bit easier as a mom, because you're a mom, I'm not. As a mom, I think you're naturally drawn to that extra piece of it, and
sure,
relatability. I got it. I feel it.
For sure. And that just happened. Like, that is something that I didn't seek out. That just happened. I was contacted one day, by like a client, hey, I know someone whose 15-year-old daughter is going through this. She's in palliative care. Would you mind going and speaking with her? And that was kind of the first thing. And that's when it kind of just went from there. And it's something that I don't talk about or that I don't advertise a whole lot too, because it's not like, it's such a special thing. And I just go to kind of where I'm called to do that. Right. So it's nothing that's just that I seek out for sure. Yeah.
And yet you're in the right place at the right time.
Right.
So I do want to talk about that because can we talk about the fear people have about dying? Are you cool with that? We could talk about that a little bit, because
Totally.
there's so many people that come to me that go, I'm afraid of dying. I don't know what's out there. I don't know, like, what is something you could say to people or the audience that you could say when somebody's about to cross over, or what's your thoughts when somebody says that to you?
So I kind of, and again, you get a feel for the person, the vibe they have. I always use I relate that to science, and I just let them know too. I mean, one of the laws of physics, as we know, energy cannot be destroyed. It simply changes form. So when we present it that way, it kind of, it gets people kind of thinking about that, right? And thinking about the soul's journey, because we're energy. Everything that's alive is energy, right? And so when we word it that way, it kind of allows them a little bit of ease, because, okay, I know my energy cannot be destroyed. It has to go somewhere. And then usually in those situations as well, this is where I will get more into the spiritual side of things, where we do talk about the soul's journey. Typically I will do some mediumship, and I will connect to their loved ones that are already over there, because it gives them that comfort of knowing, well, if she's getting this validation, she's got to get it from somewhere, right? And so I think fear is normal. And even though I do this every day on my deathbed, I'm sure, knock on wood for a while, I'm sure that that's something that is going to be there as well, because it's the unknown. Because even though we connect every damn day, and I know without a shadow of a doubt there is life after death, I just don't know exactly how that looks. I know how that feels, but I don't know how that looks. And we're visual, right? Like, we need to have things painted out for us. So in terms of the comfort, yes, I will do some mediumship. It's all in just the language, I guess, and making them comfortable with it, for sure.
Good. I love that. So having said that, are you open to doing a couple of readings?
Sure.
Okay. So again, I like to tell the audience what we do here. I send Erin a couple of names. You only have the first name of the people I've sent you. A lot of times, most of these people come from my personal inner circle group. And a couple are actually not from my inner circle this time around, because I like to mix it up. So, and full disclosure, Erin's not part of my inner circle. She has her own inner circle people. So, and so she wouldn't know who's in there. And I always want to be transparent, because I don't want to be oh yeah, she knew who those people were. And so Erin, just to confirm, I only gave you the first names, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so let's start with Angel, first of all.
Sure. I'm going to grab my cards. So I was talking about my first deck of cards, and that's these bad boys. So this is the Aquarian Tarot. I just have to show them off.
I love that.
So that is, and the box is kind of in a little bit of rough shape, but those were my first decks. So this is what we're going to use. And we'll see what we kind of connect to with Angel. Okay. Okay. So with Angel, I'm drawn, so I drew 2 tarot cards for her. And the first one I want to point out here, if you can see, we've got the 8 of Rods. Very exciting. So 8s in tarot typically mean movement and seeking. And 8s, if we look at the 8, right, it's the figure 8, which is also known as the infinity symbol. So that's kind of how we remember the movement of the 8s. Rods in tarot those are our action cards, our creative cards, typically work when we need to get things moving. So I feel as though Angel is really on the cusp of having like a major career breakthrough. I do feel like there's just a lot coming up for her that is going to be really, really exciting and fast paced. And I think now she has a lot on her plate, but I almost feel like it's going to blow up a little bit more for her. And I think that's great. I feel like she, is her own boss and will really kind of, grow her own company, particularly in the next year. The follow-up card to that is this Lover's card, which is a beautiful card. But contrary to how it looks with the partners there, this is a card that reminds her that she needs to love herself as well, and make sure that she's getting the self-care and the healing that she needs as well. So if Angel is in a relationship right now, I would suggest that she makes sure that she is taking time to do her alone stuff as well and working on her own healing. Same with her partner. He needs to make sure that they're doing the same sort of healing there as well. When they're both content with who they are and they have that self-love for each other, they come together and it just really brings harmony within their relationship. So making sure that she's just taking care of herself, especially since things are going to be so busy in the next little while. Now, if she's not in a relationship, this card would just acknowledge, again, making sure that she's releasing what she needs to and healing what she needs to so she can have that harmonious relationship. I think she's at a point in her life right now where, like, energetically, she knows what type of people she wants around her. I think she's been getting really good at those boundaries and just not, for lack of a better word, wasting time on people that feel toxic or just don't, are more narcissistic. I think there's been a time in the past where maybe some of those narcissists have kind of attached to her a little bit and maybe taken advantage of her kind ways. I do feel like she's more that empath and sensitive to energy too. So it's really important now that she's really being firm with those boundaries. And I think she's doing just that. And I think that's why as well, when it comes to career and work, that's why she's going to notice things really moving, because she's cleared a lot of that blockage. So I hope that makes sense for Angel.
It really does. She is married. I can confirm that. And her and her husband have just this beautiful relationship. I love that you said about the self-love, because you're absolutely right. She has some stuff to heal. So it's perfect. Love that. Good. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Next one, Jessica.
Okay. Jessica. Okay, so for Miss Jessica, we have the Four of Swords. So swords in tarot, these are our thought cards, everything to do with matters of the mind. So communication, logic, intellect, everything to do with our mind, our mental state. You can see this dude. We've got a guy in armor there, and he's laying on his bed. He's got 3 swords above him and one kind of laid out below him. If he were to sit up right now, he would pierce himself, right? So this card is telling me that Jessica needs to make sure that she is quieting her mind and not overdoing it. I feel like she's a very she thinks a lot. I feel like she's very kind of in her head in some ways. And I connect to being an empath here. So I feel like she connects to the energy of all those around her. And I think right now that energy is just a little bit intense. So making sure that she is taking the time for her to rest, because if she doesn't, she's going to find that the universe will make her. So she might get sick. She might, get some headaches. Her car might not start. There might be just certain things that delay her in doing what she needs to do if she doesn't take that care that she needs to. So empath 101 here for her. She needs to make sure she is grounding herself, sitting in a couple minutes of meditation. And I don't mean meditation to connect spiritually. I mean mindfulness. She needs to make sure that she's just being mindful, getting out of her head and back into her body, and just listening to her body. Now, the follow-up card to that, we've got the beautiful Queen of Rods, which is an awesome card. The Queen of Rods is all about passion, all about creativity, all about spiritual connection as well. So if she has been working on her own spiritual connection, I do feel as though she's on her way. I feel like she is really on the brink of like a life cycle change. And that might even be why all this head stuff is in there right now, and that anxiety is there. So she just needs to make sure she's honoring herself, pulling back from doing things so much for others and focusing on herself. A lot of creativity with her. I feel like she would be great, like a great business mind, or she'd be really great at doing her own thing, but just making sure she's taking the time for herself.
And all of that is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I've been trying to get her to do her own business for a while now. So come on, Jessica.
She'd be good at, but it comes with that confidence as well. And she'll get there. That will come. And I always say, like, timing, right? You're going to be in the right place at the right time. And she will when she's ready, for sure. Does she do a lot of writing? Do you know?
I don't know about the writing.
Or like art? Is she an artist?
There's something to what you're talking about, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's actually a mentee of mine.
Oh, fantastic.
So she does the empath aspect that totally resonated. I've been trying to get her to write more. So she's journaling a little bit. She also has young children, like quite a few young children. So it's
got it. She's tired. No wonder.
She's
I get it. I get it, girl. Yeah. I think, and so I think like speaking to that as well, as the kids get older, I know how it is. Trust me. She will start having more time for that, and it won't be so rushed. And then she can start honoring herself a little bit more as well. But I feel like she's so creative, and she just has to get that going. So I like that you're, trying to inspire her to write more and all that, because I do feel like that will relieve some of those blocks as well.
Love that. Good.
Yeah.
Next one. Ashley.
Ashley. Okay. Ashley. Okay. With Ashley, do you know, and I kind of do pick up on some mediumship with Ashley. I do pick up, do you know, just yes or no, does she have a dad in spirit?
No. Father-in-law.
Father-in-law. I do connect to a male in spirit that is kind of in that dad realm. And I do feel like just wanting to let them know that he is okay. And I kind of feel like he was the glue to the family in a lot of ways, or the rock. And so I do kind of feel like it's been a tough go. Do you know, did he have any sort of respiratory issues or lung issues when he passed?
I can't confirm that. I think it was heart, but I can't confirm that. So in the chest area for sure.
Yeah. And this would have been more of like a sudden or an unexpected passing then, correct?
Yeah.
And I feel as though, I mean, we're never prepared for that at all, but I feel like things just weren't prepared. And I do feel as though there's been a huge burden on the family because of this. And I don't know if you know this, and you can just kind of pass this on to her. Sorry, what was her name again? Ashley?
Ashley. Yeah.
Just let her know as well. I feel like I need to talk about medication, and that he wasn't taking medication properly, or I feel almost like maybe his dose was changed just before that. So if he was on like blood pressure pills, I feel like just something's off with that. And I feel like the point of that is just a validation point there, right? I feel like he's just bringing that up. And I feel like he's just acknowledging that he's aware how tough it's been for everyone. I feel like there's some guilt here too. And I feel the need to say that nothing could have been done here. Okay. So I don't know who that's directed to, if that's directed to her mother-in-law or even to her husband, but I feel like he's just acknowledging nothing could have saved me here because it was too late. I do feel like he went rather quickly. Okay. So he's just letting them know that. Now, do you know if her husband, maybe this is her, has her husband, do you know, has he not been sleeping? Like, has he been struggling with insomnia and stuff like that?
See how good she is, you guys? Yes, he is. He absolutely, he's not sleeping well at all.
Because his dad's just acknowledging how he's aware of that, first of all, and how he is with him at night, just trying to give him that comfort and all that. And I feel like his poor mind, it's almost like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulder. So although this reading is for Ashley, I mean, it ties in because her husband's there. And I'm going to say this card is actually for her husband, and I've got another one here for poor Ashley, but for her husband, his dad just reminds him, we've got the Judgment card here. So this is a card of just, you got to live your life for you and your family as well, but not put so much pressure or expectations on yourself, because I feel like this poor man is just burdened. I feel like the weight of the world on his shoulders, and his dad's just reminding him that things are going to be okay. Do they have 2 children?
They have 1 right now.
1 on the way?
Not yet, but they're trying.
Ace of Pentacles.
Yay!
So this is Pentacles and Tarot are always health and wealth related. Okay. This is a card of great health, good finances, but more importantly, this is definitely a pregnancy card. Okay. Do they have a boy now or a girl?
Oh my gosh. I'm drawing a girl, almost drew a blank.
So this is a feminine card as well. So I'm willing to say that the next child will be a girl as well. But either way, the father-in-law, because he shows me rocking baby as well, acknowledges how everything's going to be fine. This will happen. I do feel a lot of stress with her as well. I feel like she's trying to take care of everyone right now too, making sure she's eating properly. I go to diet with her. So if she has some food sensitivities, she just might want to, look at that. Or if she's been not, putting the proper things into her body or nurturing her body, she just needs to look at that as well. But this is a high fertility card. And if this is something that they've been talking about, I do feel like this is on the horizon sooner rather than later for them.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
They're actually, I'm going to let you know, they're actually divided. Her husband would like kids right now, another one right now. And she's going, no, we need to wait another year. So it's actually quite funny. And I think it'll happen sooner than later.
I think so too. And I'm going to say probably within the next 6 months, to be honest. Perfect. Yeah. The month of May comes to mind, to be honest. So there could be something there.
Fair enough. I love it. Thank you for that. Last one. Let's do Lori.
Lori. Okay. Lori.
I'm going to spell Lori because it matters. Lori.
Lori. Okay. Perfect. Lori. Okay, I'm going to do 3 here. Oh, yes. Okay. So Lori, super in tune. I do feel like she's super connected to source. I feel like she's got a really great intuition, a really good sense of mediumship abilities as well. She needs to trust herself with that though. I do feel like she kind of self-sabotages sometimes, or she kind of puts those walls up. So trusting and letting that go. I feel like this is something as a child that was there, and then she almost like kind of put those walls up, right? Which happens so often if we're not nurtured in that way, right? So, but anyways, the first card here for Lori is super intuitive card. It's the Temperance card. Okay, so this card, this is one of the few cards in the tarot that have the archangels on it. And so this would represent having that connection to source naturally, but she also needs to make sure that she is balancing her life. That seems to be a theme with these readings today. She needs to make sure she has balance there and that she's trusting that. I feel like she has the ability to kind of see, if I can explain this properly, see the beauty in everything where, there might be, I don't know, you might look outside and see a trashy yard, but she can see the green beneath that. She can see the trees that are in the beyond that. She can see the beauty in that. So she's got that keen eye. And I think that if she trusts that and pays attention to that, that will help her in her mediumship as well. Because inspiration is all around, is what I'm trying to say. And that inspiration will really kind of help her give her messages. Because spirit works in weird ways. So, but she does need to make sure that she is finding balance in her everyday life as well. I connect to a little bit of anxiety with her, to be honest. So I don't know. I mean, the energy of the world has been really intense for a while now. I don't know what's going on there, particularly with a male in her life. I feel like she needs to make sure that she is being clear with her communication and really being clear on her intent and what she wants right now. Not worrying about pleasing other people, what she wants at this stage in her life. Okay. We do have the 8 of Rods for her as well. So we see this card again. So this is movement within career and work. And again, I think the sky's the limit for her, but she needs to let go of her fears first. And then really after that, we see the world, which is beautiful. The world is, you can see the circle on it. It represents new life cycle. It represents success, completion, and the world is your oyster. So she's got so much potential in the future, but she has to just make sure that she is doing what's right for her and letting go of her fears in the process. Boundaries are huge with her as well.
I love that. She is learning boundaries. It is perfect. I feel like every day is a struggle for us with boundaries. Some are good at it, some are not. And then all of a sudden you have a special person and it works in that way as well. I get it. I totally get it. Those were all spot on. Awesome. Fantastic. Yay. Way to go. Thank you so much. They're going to love that for sure.
I love it.
Good. So Erin, how can people listen to you? How can they schedule a reading with you? How can they just get more information all about you? Because they got to sign up with you.
Sure. Yes. So you can find me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Erin Knight Spiritual Medium. Additionally, with my company at Third Eye Mystics, we're all on social media as well. Check out our website at thirdeyemystics.com. So all the info is on there on courses, what's upcoming, and how to book.
Perfect. I love it. Erin, again, it was such a pleasure. I'm so excited to
Oh,
have you on. Thank you so much for everything.
thank
And
you.
it's been great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.